After a tough road loss at Children's Mercy Park against Swope Park Rangers, Jimmy Nielsen and Hartford Athletic return to Dillon Stadium for their second ever game after the renovations to take on Mike Anhauser and the Charleston Battery, who are coming off of a wild more than 2-week stretch without a game due to some inclement weather over the past few weeks. Their last match coming on June 29th. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Tonight's game presented by Barberino Nissan. And Devin Kerr, when you take a look at this Hartford Athletic side in comparison to some of the other teams that are towards the bottom of the barrel in the Eastern Conference, they're one of the best. But if you are going to make a playoff push, like we heard from Alex Dixon at the beginning of this season, they're going to need to start getting some wins against some of the top-tier clubs.
If you're an Athletic fan, it's going to feel like you're taking baby steps. I understand that's difficult, but you are making ground. You take a look at all the teams that are currently sitting above you in the rankings. They're gaining ground. Slowly but surely, they are making their way up the table. But at some point in time, you are spot on, Tyler. You have to find a way to turn those ties into wins. They've been good in some of their performances, but Jimmy Nielsen has told us he's looking for more consistency.
And let's take a look at the two clubs head-to-head. Hartford Athletic, Charleston Battery. Charleston, the only team in the modern era of the USL to make the playoffs every single year. And it's been a inconsistent year, and even talking to Jimmy Nielsen, he's been surprised at the inconsistency for Mike Anhauser's group.
It's hard to really judge their body of work so far because you have to take into account injuries, lack of players with international issues, also guys going on international duty, and mind you, they had an Open Cup run as well. Then you deal with the fluctuation in performances over the weather delays. But I'll tell you what, they're going to have their hands full tonight. Jimmy Nielsen may have the golden key in the likes of Alex Davey. This is a kid who was on a first-team contract with Chelsea. Yeah, I said it, the Premier League squad Chelsea until 2017. Had some loan stints, never made an appearance for the first team. But he has a heck of a resume. Former FA Youth Cup champion, also won the U21 Premier League back in 2014. This gives him the ability to slot in next to Sam DeVitt and move Rasmussen into the midfield.
And meanwhile, Charleston Battery keeper Joe Kuzminski is quietly probably one of the better keepers in the Eastern Conference.
I actually picked this guy to be the Golden Glove winner coming in. That is not saying that he's having a bad year. It's just not the year we've seen in years past. Going back to the injuries, the rotating personnel, it's been difficult for him. Last year, 24 appearances, 22 goals against, and 12 clean sheets. He's at 18 appearances, 22 goals against. So he's already given up the same amount as 2018. Has to find a way to bail his boys out when asked to do so.
Jimmy Nielsen and Hartford Athletic looking to make it 2 wins in a row at Dillon Stadium. Meanwhile, Charleston Battery trying to shake off the cobwebs and get a nice road win. It's Charleston and Hartford when we come back.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small in small business.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Buck's got your back.
Join Trentolo and Trentolo for the MDA Benefit Ride and Concert on Sunday, July 14th. The motorcycle ride and concert are headed to Sun Valley Resort in Stafford Springs, where Bret Michaels and Grand Funk Railroad will take the stage. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit MDARideCT.com. The MDA Benefit Ride and Concert on Sunday, July 14th. Let's ride, rock, and make a difference.
Nick, we need a decision. These days, we all feel a little anxious sometimes. But if you could see inside my mind...
You'd find I'd go to my happy place. See, if we let tensions run the show up here...
then our bodies won't perform at their best out here.
Wait, are we going to the sound check?
Priorities.
So I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you that how you're doing emotionally affects you physically. Go for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you're feeling, physically and emotionally. Body and mind. Cigna, together all the way.
Please. Almost ready to go here at Dillon Stadium between Hartford Athletic and Charleston Battery. Hartford right now tied for bottom of the barrel in the Eastern Conference. Charleston hovering right around that playoff cutoff line in the Eastern Conference. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro, Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us for what should be a terrific 90 minutes. Let's take a look at the starting 11, beginning with the Fighting Jimmy Nielsen's in Hartford Athletic.
And he turns in a 4-3-3 on his lineup card. Don't be surprised if you see Rasmussen sitting in the middle with the other boys just in front. Turns into a 4-1-4-1. Max Steves will run point up top all alone. Alex Dixon has come into his own recently. Nice to see him back healthy. And we already talked about Alex Davey, what he's done next to Sem DeVitt in the center back position. Can they find a way to be a bit more problematic in the final third? Jimmy Nielsen feels like they haven't been clinical enough. Charleston Battery. Mike Anhauser telling us that with all these guys coming back from international duty and injuries, he has the flexibility now to toy with his formation. They turn in a 4-4-2. I would not be surprised if this quickly turns into a 5 with AJ on the left, Taylor sitting in the middle, and Leland on the right. Regardless, a massive amount of talent for the Charleston Battery. Svante Tessen up top.
Last game for Charleston coming in late June. Their last win, you'd have to go all the way back to June 8th, a 3-1 result against the Birmingham Legion. And Devin, I'm not exactly sure if you've ever been in a situation like this. I know that you asked Jimmy Nielsen if he's ever been in a situation like that. He said he was back with OKC Energy FC in 2017. How difficult is it to sort of restart the batteries, rekindle the flame, a team that's been inconsistent and hasn't played in over 2 weeks?
It's difficult enough when you're playing, yet alone when you're sitting on the sidelines. So, you know, the good news for Charleston Battery is that they have a lot of veteran experience, not just from a playing standpoint, but within their organization. Guys that have been here and under the tutelage of Anhauser for quite some time. So Mike Anhauser said that, you know what, we've gotten some scrimmages in, really not necessarily sure what this product is going to look like. Give it to the manager for being honest about it. On the other side for Hartford Athletic, how do you prepare for a team like this where so many pieces not there? Tatanuga gets the red card against New York Red Bull 2. You and I were talking about one of the stranger situations where guys sitting out for basically 5 weeks to serve a one-game suspension due to the weather delays.
Well, we're officially underway from Dillon Stadium for the second time in Hartford Athletics history. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr, 3 points up for grabs in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship. We invite you to turn off the world and turn on the game. Hartford Athletic in their blue and green, Charleston Battery in their white, black, and whites. And Angelo Kelly will recycle for Charleston. We'll take a look at the Trantolo and Trantolo injury report while we have a moment. Just a laundry list for Hartford Athletic, and the same goes for Charleston Battery as well, and Jay Bold and Kieran Mason. Both teams have been bitten by the injury bug more than a couple of times this season. For Hartford Athletic, it's great to bring in a player like Alex Davey, but I think going even further than that, Devin, it's great to just have another warm body along the back line.
Think about everybody that's been rotating onto that back line through the middle. Rasmussen has just been a revolving door, and credit to him for being such a versatile player, but at some point in time, you'd like to see him fit into your roster. The reason you went and got him in the offseason, Jimmy Nielsen talking about that, saying that that was one of the most exciting things. Really a chance now to showcase everybody's talents. Unfortunately for them, one that they will also be missing is Harry Swartz. He pulled up a little bit lame last game. Just nursing a groin injury, and hope that he's going to be back soon.
Last time Hartford Athletic was here at Dillon was the home opener after the renovations to the 5,000-seat stadium, as Hartford came away with an impressive 2-1 win over Indy 11 and a good challenge there along the back line. Coming from Leland Archer. And we'll have a stoppage here as a Hartford player did go down in the penalty area in the opening 2 minutes of this one. And the last thing that Hartford needs, as we just talked about, is another injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious for Philip Rasmussen. It was an awkward play, as it seemed like it was Archer who sort of just took a stab at him from behind. There was no foul call from the referee, Adam Kilpatrick.
You get a better look at the challenge coming back over. There's a little flick, and it just looks like he catches that ankle as he goes to ground a little bit. Actually clutches to the knee. You can see he's got a tiny little limp. Just hoping that that's nothing long term. As we mentioned, this is the main piece for Jimmy Nielsen. Feels like that might have finally found a home with the addition of Alex Davey being able to move Rasmussen into the midfield.
And Hartford will give it back to Joe Kuzminski and will restart play. Devin mentioned before, a 1-1 draw in the last time that Charleston have played in a game against New York Red Bulls 2. That a rematch of the past 2 opening rounds of the Eastern Conference playoffs. in which New York Red Bulls, too, on a number of occasions have gone down to South Carolina and gotten a massive result in the first round of the playoffs. Here's Vucic. Had one of the 2 goals in that 2-1 win against Indy 11 on July 13th. It was a terrific finish after a great first touch. Jose Angulo got the scoring started. Indy 11 pulled one back due to a controversial penalty call. And following that 2-1 result, it was a 4-3 loss on the road against Swope Park Rangers, as this one sent ahead toward Max Steves. He's executed that big 6'4" frame. Angulo, first time delivery, not his best. Available in the area, here's Alex Dixon, and he skies it. Fortuitous bounce for Hartford, but Alex Dixon can't make the most of it.
A difficult one for Alex Dixon, coming back across the body. Gets it on that left foot of his, but with the pace right at the top of the 18, you're attacking the ball, and then with a little bit of English on it, having to get up over the top of it, very difficult to bring down. That's why he just pushes it right up over the top of the bar.
Dixon scoring one of the goals for Hartford in their 4-3 loss against Swope Park Rangers, and Jimmy Nielsen made no qualms about it. He said that that was the best 25-minute performance at the start of that game that Swope Park Rangers put on that he's seen from any team in the USL Championship this season.
What a bold statement that is. You and I have had the opportunity to see pretty much everyone. And coming from someone as well respected as Jimmy Nielsen, to get out in front of a comment like that, have to take it, and not with a grain of salt. You take it right in the face and understand that, look, this is exactly what's going on, and they are a squad that can put it down and play with the best of them. A combination of switching conferences, the travel, as well as all the youth coming out of it, just really hasn't turned out for Paulo Nagamura's boys. And you give a little bit of fight left for Hartford Athletic at the tail end of it. But as Nielsen said, it was just too much too early on, and they would end up on the wayside and the wrong side of the 4-3.
Sem David. Good entry pass into Barrero, who's got a bit of space to work with. Overlapping run, Kyle Karinga's delivery is denied. Dixon encouraging Raymond Lee forward. In for Vucic, trying to go back for Vucic again, but it'll fall for Joe Kuzminski. And Raymond Lee, unfortunately, helped Swope Park Rangers get the scoring started, as he quite literally gave the ball away to Swope Park in the opening 5 minutes or so, and allowed Swope to get the scoring started in that great 25 minutes that we were just talking about. And Jimmy Nielsen said it was a bit of a bizarre feeling after the game, because while it was so poor from them in the first 25 minutes, it was also Swope Park putting on a great performance. He had a number of guys coming down from Sporting Kansas City, but he loved the fight from his guys. He loved their ability to be able to go and at least try to put pressure on Swope Park late on, and they were able to do so, and they certainly made it interesting. And it's always going to be a bizarre experience to go from a packed house at Dillon Stadium, home opener for a stadium you've been waiting to open for months now, to going to basically an empty Children's Mercy Park.
And you go all the way back to opening comments about what they've been able to do.
Here's Dixon.
Compared to everybody else above them in the standings. Although it doesn't seem like much, they are making headway. Best record in the bottom 8 in all of the Eastern Conference in the past 10 games. There are some decent names in there. Bethlehem Steel are in the run of that, St. Louis FC, Loudoun United, teams that Hartford Athletic has faced and has struggled against with some of them. Slowly making their way up and just getting everybody into a natural state of mind, where Rasmussen's not makeshift center back, where Alex Dixon isn't running point up top and is now finally healthy. And you have additions like Danny Barrera and Alex Davey coming into it. And that's all comes full circle to what the manager told us. That you've seen stuff coming out of the likes of Angulo. Raymond Lee starting to attack a little bit more out of the back, but he hasn't been able to get everybody on the same page throughout a full 90 minutes so far. The results show it.
Opening 7 minutes or so, and it's been all Hartford. Charleston have rarely threatened. Second to fall for Rasmussen. Just clips it out wide for Dixon. Alex Daly. closed down quickly by the likes of Zico Lewis, who of course was with Bermuda during the Gold Cup a few weeks ago. And Bermuda, one of the mighty impressive Caribbean sides that gave every team in their group a fit. Alex Daly with brilliant distribution to the far side. Semdevitt always going over the bar. I think it was intended delivery more than anything. Mentioned before that this Charleston Battery team under Mike Anhauser, the only side in the modern era of the USL to make the postseason every year. Got to the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Pardon me, the fourth round. Fell to Atlanta United behind closed doors after we had that debacle with MUSC Health Stadium, where the playing conditions were not ideal. Angelo Kelly rocks it off the face of Alex Davey. Gulo touches it away, only as far as Candela. Lewis. Gulo doesn't have a ton of options moving forward. And I looked at you when I saw the starting 11 coming out, and between Angulo, Vucic, and Max Steeves, there's not a ton of pace amongst those three. Alex Dixon obviously has bags of it, but there's a lot of technical ability. It's just going to be, how does Alex Dixon fit into all that and use his pace to Hartford's advantage?
That's one of the major issues when Harry Schwartz steps off the field. He gives you that ability to stretch the back line, and can you now do it with Raymond Lee and Kyle Karinga?
Guerra trying to slot it through for Ian Svantessen, as Guerra getting his first minutes of the 2019 season after some visa issues. Broken up by Charleston, and Hartford Athletic would like to extend a special thank you to our title partner, Trinity Health of New England.
The other thing is, with the personnel that Jimmy Nielsen has on right now, big bodies and Vucic and Max Steeves up top, you can't necessarily go rapid fire. However, you can put it up there with the big bodies, let them hold up play, get guys in down around them, and that's where you expect things in the likes of Angulo and Alex Dixon, where just now you see it. There's no outlet pass for Angulo coming out of the middle of the field. Have to find a point man up top, or sometimes call it a day, stick it right back outside, rotate things back around, and just allow yourself to maintain good shape. That's one thing that Hartford Athletic prides themselves on, and they've definitely gotten better as the season has gone on.
Or pass from Raymond Lee. Here comes Charleston on the other end, and Tula Guerra leading the charge. Guerra ways behind Obi Woodbine, who's making that run on the outside. Frederick Due, a little bit of ways from home. Here comes Hartford on the other end. Vucic linking up with Steeves. Just bodying Lewis off the ball. Danny Pereira. Angulo clips one in. Wasn't a bad idea. Karinga. Angulo again on the left side, isolated. Not exactly the 1v1 prolific attacker that we saw from Jose a number of years ago, but still can get it done when given the opportunity. Scored the opening goal here at Dillon. The match against Indy 11 as Alex Dixon again in space over on the far side. Takes one in again. Charleston deal with it appropriately. Guerra up for the header, and Zico Lewis trying to spring Svantessen the other way. Davey on the turn, and Due has to come off of his line. Steves couldn't quite get rid of it.
Good news is with Jose Angulo that he is finding the net, not as regularly as Athletic would like. Still leading the team in that area, and with the supporting cast coming in, more opportunities heading his way. Just recently became the 6th player in USL history to hit the 50-goal mark. He's actually chasing a streaking Corey Herzog out in Reno 1868. What he's been able to do this year, sitting 2 behind at 51 right now. His brace against Loudon put him into that special club, and then the goal last week pushed him 1 further.
Corey Herzog had that excellent game winner against OKC Energy FC at Taft Stadium, a game in which Reno trailed 2-0. Came back and won, and they keep pace with the likes of Fresno and Phoenix Rising FC over in the Western Conference, although Phoenix tying FC Cincinnati's record set a year ago for consecutive wins at 10 after dispatching Marcelo Serrano's Alston Bold by a score of 6-0. Go 12-0-0 on Dollar Beer Night. A couple of poor passes
from both
either
teams.
way. Both.
Anything you can do, I can do worse.
Is that how that goes?
That's exactly how it goes. It's going that way right now.
Nice little back heel, but broken up by Semdevid. They're going to have a hydration break today. There's a heat wave hitting the Northeast. Hovering around 95 to 100, depending on where you are. And Devin Kerr, who grew up in South Florida, is not impressed by any stretch of the imagination, but it is what it is, man.
I respect the elements taking a toll on a person's body. It's quite difficult to deal with. And it's all relative, right? I mean, when you're used to something, for someone who grows up in South Florida to go to that, it's a cakewalk. But when you're used to 70-degree weather with no humidity at all, it definitely plays the war of attrition on you.
Long ball coming in the other way and picked out of the air by Kuzminski. Mentioned before that Hartford right now tied for last place in the Eastern Conference with Atlanta United 2. Both sitting on 13 points. Cutoff line is around 23. Charlotte currently sitting on that playoff line. Here's Raymond Lee. Semdevid. Knotted down by Angulo. Here comes Barrera. Matched up with Taylor Mueller. Angulo's got time and space. Now he'll whip one in. Teasing ball in. Free header. Loose in the box, and somehow Charleston able to get a touch to it. Max Steves was right in the area, but it looked like there was a very important touch put in by A.J. Patterson.
Well, Max Steves is here, but watch Vucic just standing, does not attack this ball. Lovely ball played in by Angulo right there. Has an opportunity to get up and really challenge it. Go after Leland Archer, instead stays flat-footed. Gives an opportunity for the backline of Charleston Battery to recompose their thoughts and push it away.
And it was the 23-year-old from Key Largo, Florida, and A.J. Patterson, who got that ever-important touch to it. Terrific ball whipped in by Jose Angulo. Maybe misread it, but Svantesson couldn't quite control it, and a goal kick coming for Due. And I think Jimmy Nielsen is trying to get the most out of Jose Angulo in his latter years. I mean, his best years are most certainly behind him. Tried him up top, tried him in a sort of false 9, tried him in a number 10. Now putting him out on the left-hand side. And while I don't know if that's exactly his best position, I can certainly understand the thought process, and you get it on that left peg and you see if you can make something happen.
I like the idea of still, even with his age, playing in the false 10, where he sits underneath, whether it be Max Steves up top or Vucic playing in the same role that Steves is in tonight. But with the absence of Harry Swartz, you have to find a balance on the wings. You would bring Alex Dixon on one side, Swartz on the other. Obviously, you don't have the ability to do that, so just toying around with certain things for me right now where Hartford Athletic is really lacking is honestly the space underneath the two big boys up top, where just now he's teching in, Rasmussen is. Otherwise, it's been a one-man band.
And Kulo always going to take that on the first time.
That's when the ball comes back up over the top, and you've got Rasmussen and Barrera sitting 15, 20 yards from the attackers up top. That's where we've seen it from Alex Dixon so far. I'd like to see it more from Angulo, checking in and trying to occupy that space and just override what's being thrown at them from the midfield duo of Candela and Kelly.
Fans, Hartford Athletics' next home match is Saturday, July 27th at 5 p.m. Single game tickets start at just $16. Get your tickets today at hartfordathletic.com. Call the Hartford Athletic ticket office or email tickets at hartfordathletic.com for more info. Candela trying to switch the point of attack. Charleston starting to settle in after what was a rather shaky opening 5 to 10 minutes. Guerra knocks it back. Candela again, thought about the long-range effort. Angelo Kelly. Wide for Obi Woodbine, and straight into the path of Raymond Lee. Long throwing from Woodbine. Svantis lays it off, hoping that Zico Lewis might be able to get there. And Charleston just looks like a side that hasn't played in more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you could even Zico Lewis shaking his head a little bit. He knew that he was wrong for not attacking it. It's a good ball played in, and everybody's just kind of reading a different book right now. That's what you run into, where you cannot replace experience in gameplay. I mean, you can train as hard as you want, get in great fitness, have tactical sessions, but until you step on the field and put in those shifts, nothing can replicate what you're seeing right now.
Ball curled in. Zico Lewis was hoping for it. He'll just see it out of play, and a corner kick coming up for Charleston.
Set piece opportunities can be one to really help kickstart the option when it's not going your direction. Not to say that the Battery have played terrible, but neither squad really firing on all cylinders right now. Sometimes this just gives you a bit of added leverage here. Let the big boys come up from the back, knock one in, go win it, especially on the road. An opportunity to progress a bit further into this match and maybe take the reins.
Corner sent all the way towards the back post as they was trying to knock it back in, but a goal kick coming for Frederick Due. Hartford Athletic would like to recognize the Hartford and all of its founding partners for the 2019 season. Two-way launches it the other way. Bit too cute from Alex Dixon. Candela flips it over the top. Flag's going to stay down. Here's Guerra straight at Due, and he's able to make the save. Most of the Hartford back line had stopped, expecting the offside flag to come up, but Atula Guerra with a good penetrating run.
This is very well done by Due, coming off his line as He gets in behind the back line, comes back over. First touch isn't great, but it's not bad. Does give him an opportunity to get a strike off, but Due had progressed so far out, the angle was so minute. There's a good look in the background of the movement we talked about. Now they get the outside backing. Kyle Karinga real high. Alex Dixon has tucked himself in just in front of Rasmussen and Danny Barrera, who's standing on the ball now. Gives them one more attacker in the middle of the field.
Danny Barrera. Long ball over the top for Jose Angulo. He drives one in. Glancing header coming in from Max Steves. Took a deflection on the way. Charleston had to keep it in play. A little bit better movement there from Hartford.
Beautiful first touch by Angulo to bring it down, and then the pace behind it. Knocked right into the middle. Leland Archer doing some great last-ditch defending right now to really help out that back four. Starting to struggle a little bit with the overlapping runs. Just looking for a release valve going the other direction. They've been yet to find that. Thought maybe they had one moments ago with Atula Guerra. Due had other ideas.
Max Steves gets taken down by Candela. Now a good set piece opportunity coming up for the home side. They'll take it quickly. Angulo again. Dinks one in again. Karinga. Mueller knocks it away. Well done by Obi Woodbine. Zico Lewis told he can turn. Taking the space in front of him. Guerra. Bit of an awkward touch, crunching tackle from Alex Davey. Raymond Lee forced to get rid of it after an awkward bounce. Comes Steves the other way. Trying to go straight through Taylor Mueller. Looking to pick out Vucci. And Archer gets a touch to it.
We start on the other end, the one from Alex Davey. The former center back. Kind of looks like he lines this tackle up and just goes all the way in. As the ball gets played up over the chop, trading blows on the other end. Vucci having trouble bringing it with the lights in his eyes, and just an opportunity to circumvent everything that's gone on in the open 27 minutes. He's actually down after that tackle now, shaking his head in utter disgust that something might have happened. Just inside 30 minutes of his first start for Hartford Athletic. You mentioned this was the guy who Jimmy Nielsen felt could be the key to unlock everything, and you don't always hear that coming out of the back line, especially in a center back. But as vital as Rasmussen has been to his squad and all the roles that he's had to portray defensively, felt like bringing Davey in allowed Rasmussen to play a bit higher. It really helped kickstart this attack going forward.
Well, while we have a moment, we'll take a look at Hartford Athletics results over the last 10 matches or so. We mentioned that of the bottom 8 teams in the Eastern Conference, they have been the most impressive. And you take a look at some really solid results, a win against Indy 11, a win against St. Louis, draws against North Carolina and Ottawa, but in between that St. Louis win and an Indy 11 win, draw against Birmingham, lost 3-0 at home, the final game at the Ren. and a Memphis 901 FC side that, you know, most of their wins this season, whether it be Open Cup or league play, almost all of them have come against Hartford.
He felt like the best run of form they've had consistently. He was real keen on that word. Was in the back-to-back draws against Ottawa Fury and North Carolina FC. And just how do you find a way to replicate that on a regular basis? They've been unable to do so. And nice win over St. Louis FC. Looked a lot better a few weeks ago. St. Louis FC has now dropped out of the playoff picture, believe it or not. It's impressive in that 2-1 win over Indy 11. That ended the 10-game unbeaten for them. Indy 11 will look to avenge that tonight against Loudoun United.
This has been a very interesting start to an inaugural season for Jimmy Nielsen and Hartford Athletic. And the one big thing that we can always point to, Devin, is the scheduling. Now listen.
Don't get me started.
It's tough to begin with that all 8 of your games to start the season are going to have to be on the road. But when you're going up against the giants of the Eastern Conference week in and week out, yeah, the last game of that 8-game road swing to start the season was going to be a drubbing at North Carolina FC. It was always going to be that way. I'm not saying that there aren't other teams who have been bitten by the scheduling bug, as it were, but it seems like Hartford got the worst dose of it.
Having the opportunity to be around both conferences, both East and West, you and I see what everybody has done and what will be in the future. I have seen nothing like this coming out of Hartford Athletic, and I mean that in the sense of what their fixtures are this year. Rough go of it to start the year. Yes, they had to do it away from the road, but, on the road. Give them a little bit of a break. It's not getting any easier, by the way, so you have to play Charleston Battery, turn around, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Bethlehem Steel, that's still a hard match. Bethlehem Steel, they're, to be honest, some of their form is kind of what you get out of Hartford Athletic. They can compete with the best of them. They can also turn the snooze alarm on a little bit and let you go back to sleep. Nashville, New York Red Bull 2. That is a stretch of 5 games, not including the fact that they just played Indy 11, where you go, okay, those could all be losses. That's nothing against Hartford Athletic. That's just the level of talent that's going on in the Eastern Conference this year. And the fact that all of it happened week after week, it's almost unfair. And now it's happening twice. It happened at the beginning of the year, and now you've hit the central part, and it's coming right back around. The fact that they are even relevant right now, and not only that, have done better than everybody else lower in the table, or below the playoff line is a better way to put it, is astounding. I mean, that you have to give them a pat on the back. It all goes back to what Alex Dixon said, though. He said that eventually we will find a way to get this done. And I promise you, we're going to make the playoffs by the end of the year. There's a lot of work to be done between now and then. They still have a shot, though. And it's not a long mathematical shot. They are within striking distance. You just have to start to find a way. When you go up against some of these quote-unquote bigger squads, better squads, however you want to phrase it, guys that are above you in the table, you got to go out and get 3 points. What better way to do it than at home?
Well, a better way to do it than against a side who's had more than 2 weeks off. Try to pick them off on the road while they're trying to get back into the swing of things. And especially after you just suffered a 4-3 loss against the Swope Park Rangers side that has started to string some results together. They were sitting at the bottom of the Eastern Conference barrel a few weeks ago, but now in 15th place on 15 points. As Semdovic drives one to the near side for Jose Angulo. Here's Barrera. One touch away from Candela. Picture perfect ball for Angulo, just lashes it across, but held onto by Joe Kuzminski.
Much better look from Hartford Athletic, going side to side, and then the vertical stretch coming out of Angulo. See how deep Rasmussen and Barrera are playing. They come all the way back, and it's the quick strike ball in behind the back line that is going to be effective. Cannot connect on the ball across, but Angulo has looked really nice with his delivery so far.
Zico Lewis brings it down. Curled in, and Svantesson rises for the header, but not at all wrong in the end.
This isn't a bad idea from the battery, similar to what we just saw from Hartford Athletic on the other end. But as it gets whipped in, Svantesson always trying to redirect this to the back post and challenge Due. He had a shadow in the form of Semdevit that eluded him.
Still 0-0 here between Hartford and Charleston at Dillon Stadium. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us on this hot and steamy Saturday evening in Hartford, Connecticut, as the heat wave continues to roll on through the Northeast. How about Jimmy Nielsen going with the dark colors in 95-degree heat?
My palette escapes me a little bit from this distance. Is that blue on blue or black on black?
It's blue on blue.
It is blue on blue. I respect the dark brown belt and the almost camel colored shoes though. I believe that the White Puma wasn't given the top 5 for best dressed in the USL Championship.
I can believe it. It's not that he's poorly dressed. There's just
so much going on around him.
Yeah. Here's Nico Rittmeyer. Cuts it back on his right. Candela asking for it. Rittmeyer takes it himself, and Vincenzo Candela, I can't believe that he didn't get a crack at that.
That's the look you were just talking about, Tyler, where Hartford Athletic tracks so deep. To be honest, they didn't really need all of the numbers back. Just felt like the threat was too much for them to handle. 9 guys, including the goalkeeper. And when you try and go the other direction, you legitimately have one ball. It's a 40 or 50-yard ball up top, but then no one's going with them. And that's the gap that needs to be bridged come the second half. A conversation that I'm sure Jimmy Nielsen will have with his boys. And can you find a way to bring Alex Dixon into the mix a little bit more? Maybe tuck him underneath Max Steves and Chikvuchik up top. No area of concern, to be honest, in the middle of the field where that gap has grown even farther. You can see it right now. There's about 15, 20 yards. But on the offensive side, when they're coming out of their own defensive shape, it is just so much bigger.
Guerra trying to find Svantesson. 10 minutes remaining until halftime. Alex Dixon, long ball over the top. And that's the second time that Alex Dixon, who's by far the fastest player in that attacking front for Hartford, is trying to go the direct route for the likes of Max Steves. And no offense to Max Steves, but 1v1 foot race isn't exactly his forte.
It's a direct route, to be honest, and I don't mind the look, but play it to where he can hold it up. Give him an opportunity. Once you play it, then you go, because the guy stepping to you already has momentum working against him. You knock that long ball up top, let Steves try and bring it down, and you can then play off of him. And that's not what you're seeing. If you want to stretch the field like that, it's not a bad idea, but there has to be some supporting cast helping him out once the ball is played up top.
Good touch out wide from Barrera for Alex Dixon. Much better here from Hartford. Dixon away from the first defender, away from a second. Here's Angulo from distance and teases the interest of Joe Kuzminski. By far the most intriguing interplay we've seen from Hartford this evening.
Bit of a disconnection here between Alex Dixon. Felt like he wanted Angulo to rotate all the way around outside. Space to be had. There's the frustration given to Angulo. He says, you know what? How about I have a go from distance instead? Much better angle. This will challenge Kuzminski from about 30 yards out, trying to go to the far post. Goalkeeper had it covered.
Candela. Kyle Karinga steps to it and wins it back for Hartford. Vucik has it taken away, but good work rate and wins it right back. Well out of the reach of Jose Angulo, and Charleston will just see it out of play. Hartford Athletic fans, be sure to vote for your Cigna Man of the Match on Twitter using hashtag Cigna, M-O-T-M. Atula Guerra now. Svantesson, long range effort, and Frederick Due rather comfortable in the end.
Things opening up just a little bit before halftime, albeit from distance here. Angulo on one end and Svantesson on the other. Both goalkeepers doing a good job of just maintaining their shape on the back line and proper technique to shift back over, go to ground, make a good save.
Candela away from one, tries to get away from a second. Davey commits the foul right outside of the penalty area. And a very good look coming up from Charleston.
Not necessary from Alex Davey here as the last touch from Candela quite far out. Raymond Lee was checking back in, helping out the center back. Really hasn't been super sharp here in the first half, to be honest, especially since going down right around the 25th minute mark. Alex Davey goes into the book. Dangerous opportunity for the visitors. Right at the top of the 18, off center. Frederick Douay now has to have his big bodies get in front, set the wall up. Davey knows he gets it wrong, shakes his head. You have work to do, big fella. Get right back at it. Some talented individuals willing to hit this one from the direct angle. Antula Guerra fancies himself. You've also got a gentleman who went to ground, Chenzo Candela. And of course, that man right there, the man from Bermuda who had such an impressive Gold Cup, Zico Lewis.
Zico Lewis and Obi Woodbine standing over it. Frederick Douay awaits in between the sticks. It's a 5-man wall, now 6 for Hartford Athletic. It's Zico Lewis, oh! Curls it in beautifully, and Charleston Battery take a 1-0 lead here at Dillon just moments before halftime.
Frederick Douay barking at the wall. Let's see if they do in fact move. Not exactly sure why he's frustrated with the boys in front of him. Everybody holding tight. Zico Lewis just has pure and utter class put out in front. Goes for the bender to the far post. There's not much to do about it. And the goalkeeper can't rotate over and get a hand on it whatsoever. Just too much space. Could have gone either direction, to be fair, for Zico Lewis. A bit more difficult for Douay. Regardless, visitors out in front.
Well, in games like this where it's a bit hard to come by quality chances, sometimes a set piece is exactly what you need to spark the offensive flame, and Zico Lewis fanning that flame just a bit here for Charleston.
And we said earlier, set pieces can be the one that turn an entire game around. In this case, could be a season for the Charleston Battery. Everything that's been so frustrating over the past few weeks, guys in and out, and of course the weather delays that have caused postponements. Now an opportunity to really seize the momentum they've gotten off of that beautiful set piece from Zico Lewis. Lovely little left foot strike just before halftime. Can they steal another one? More importantly, carry it on to the second half.
Zico Lewis on the corner, just moments after putting Charleston ahead. Bermuda International whips one in. Frederick Douay, a strong couple of fists to it. Candela right in front of the 19th Regiment here at Dillon. Just brushes one in, and Douay will handle it with one hand.
Frustration for the goalkeeper. That's the look where he's talking about right there. He wants to go quick the other way. No one's going with him. Everybody just so stagnant on the back line. Heads have dropped even further. There's no energy at all. And regardless of the personnel, which I'm total agreement with you on, they don't exactly have the pace to do it. When Charleston Battery have 7 players in the attacking third, Douay goes out, outstretched arm, catches it, looking to go quickly in transition, and no one's on the same page of him. That's a problem. A problem that needs to be adjusted immediately at halftime, because I promise you, Jimmy Nielsen will look at his men and say, if you guys don't want to do this, I got plenty of people sitting on the bench that'll step up for you.
It's not the first time tonight that we've seen a Hartford teammate bark at Jose Angulo for not getting on his horse and making the proper run. Barrera in for Vucci. Now it's Alex Dixon. Danny Barrera trying to pick out Coringa, but always running out of play. And Hartford, as we knock on the door of halftime, are running out of ideas.
That's just another one where there's no synchronicity to it all. When Danny Barrera picks his head up as an outside attacking player in Kyle Coringa, a spot that he's not necessarily used to making that run because he's had Harry Swartz over there on a regular basis. But when your midfielder picks his head up and there's all that movement in the channel to be had, you got to get on your horse right away. Start going and making the run. If he doesn't play it, that's fine. You step back around and you get back into the appropriate position. But when you're late to the game, such as so, ball gets turned over and Charleston Battery get to retain possession.
Svantesson, way too much on that for Zico Lewis. Rasmussen penetrating pass in for Dixon. Breaks one line of defense, and Charleston forced to retreat a bit. Dixon again. And we're hearing 4 minutes of stoppage time to be added on to these first 45 minutes.
4 added minutes in the first half. 4 added minutes in the first half.
Semdevitt daring someone to step to him. Dixon lays it off for Vucci. Now it goes out wide. Jose Angulo has it on that left peg again. Drives one in. And Charleston with the first to it and the second one to it. Barrera. Rasmussen. Steve's trying to lay it off. That was Vucci. This has been a rather sluggish and slow first half, Devin. How much of it has to do with the 95-degree heat here in New England?
Some of it, not all of it. You've also got rotation within both teams. Charleston Battery not having an opportunity to step foot on the playing ground in well over a month. You can just tell that added oomph is lacking from both squads. Wondering as to exactly how this is going to portray out in the second half. I promise you this, neither manager going to be overly happy with the performance of their squads put in the first half. And just how do you change that level of expectation? Well, at the end of the day, we can criticize all we want and talk about what could or could not be done. This is still a profession. More importantly, it's a business. If you don't feel that you're up to the task at hand or that maybe today isn't your day, there's plenty of people behind you that are willing to take that spot. Wearing that badge is an honor, and you should treat it as such. On the Charleston Battery side, beautiful execution by Zico Lewis, but still nowhere near what we've seen out of Mike Anhauser's squads before. He'll recognize that, try and find a way to light a fire underneath him in the second.
Barrera, Dixon trying to take it on the first time. He claims that it took a deflection off of Taylor Mueller, but the referee pointing to the 6-yard box, and it will be a goal kick coming up.
There's definitely a little touch here. Now, Does it occur before Alex Dixon gets the strike off, or is it just after? Andy Barrera, lovely little ball in. That's really close, to be honest. I don't see any rotation on the ball, which means it's just one strike through. That's eerily similar to the goal he scored in that lackluster comeback against Swope Park Rangers. That one, of course, he was able to bring back across his body. A little half volley. Get things going.
Is it a comeback if they didn't win or draw?
And I said lackluster comeback, so he didn't necessarily get there. It's kind of like your singing career.
Failed attempt.
Yeah. Failed attempt to go after that Carvel truck in the corner, though.
No, that's a... You're succeeding in that.
There's no coming back from that one.
I'm pitching a 10 and closing that thing down. The flag is up. Dollar ice cream cone nights? See, that's a negative effect, though. Like what Phoenix is doing, you get the crowd riled up with dollar beer, but dollar ice cream cone, everybody's going to take a nap. Well, Zico Lewis with the lone goal in this one so far from the free kick spot right around the 40th minute. Hartford Athletic have been rather sluggish in the opening 45 minutes, and surely it won't be a joyous and positive halftime talk from Jimmy Nielsen as his side is in danger of dropping 2 straight games after their opening win here at Dillon Stadium on July 13th. Meanwhile, Charleston Battery shaking off the cobwebs, and they're doing so with a lead at the moment. Zico Lewis, who was terrific with Bermuda in the Gold Cup, taking his talents back to club as he did it for country. 1-0 to Charleston as we head to the halftime break.
Get ready for the Travelers Championship. So many top players.
There he is! Wow! Oh my goodness!
So many great moments.
Bubba takes the title again. They saw one of the shots of the year.
The Travelers Championship. So many reasons to be there.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small in small business.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Buck's got your back.
Halftime here at Dillon Stadium. Hartford Athletic trailing Charleston Battery thanks to Zico Lewis's free kick from about 20 yards out right before halftime. And we'll step aside and take a look at the best from the USL Championships Week 19 and USL League One's Week 16. Check it out.
Long strike, a goal for Orange County. Lacroix and Duke Lacroix. This is dangerous, headed on frame. It is a goal for Orange County. And Corey Herzog, and he perfectly places it. Get toward the back post, in the air and through. Orange County. Reese Williams with some space. Williams curls it inside the 18. Soccer attempt and a beautiful strike on the bicycle. for Lansing Ignite FC. Absolutely incredible. Elma N4. Are you kidding me? Going long distance, trying to connect. Sayone, and he puts it in the back of the net from long distance. Sending it forward. Here's another opportunity, and boy, you back of the net. That is what they've been looking to do all night long. 91st minute, we are tied at 1 apiece. Here's Mintz again. Mintz gets across to the top of the D. Moshovani left foot. Beautiful strike. Tuvi Moshovani. Here comes North Texas on the attack. The strike and a goal.
Is this the moment? Jose Angulo! Dillon Stadium alive again! Martinez! What a way to secure a hat-trick! Douglas Martinez taking the spotlight!
To keep it out does the 17-year-old. Looked like it hit the heel of Forrester, and the Bold have the answer moments later. Guess who? Tierpak. Cervantes got the early rounds against the super sub. There's bodies up there. Yeah, there's bodies up there. Let's see this. This is where he shines. Cross that in, lets it through. Here's Partey! Can you believe that? What a strike! His second on the year.
Kobayashi trying to pick out Brian Wright. Wright brings it down. Wright puts it in!
Great stuff from League One and the championship as always. And here in the championship at halftime at Dillon Stadium, Zico Lewis has what stands as the game winner for Charleston and what would be their first win since June 8th. We'll take a look at some news and notes from around our wonderful league. Tyler Terrens along with Devin Kerr. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we got a bunch of stuff to cover. LA Galaxy 2 parts ways with Mike Munoz, former RGV manager Junior Gonzalez named the interim head coach. Sacramento Republic sign a Polish attacker in Formella, but Josh Cohen gets an opportunity with Maccabi Haifa over in Israel as the Israeli Premier League Giants get a USL Championship keeper who's been terrific for the past couple of years. And how about Phoenix Rising FC? Austin Bold dispatched 6-0, 10th straight win for Phoenix Rising.
You're starting to run into territory where Phoenix Rising are going to just have to apologizing for their performances. 6 in the back of the net against Austin Bold. In a game where, by the way, Austin Bold, that was 1-0 at halftime. You and I looking at each other, talking about tactical adjustments that need to be made. It is the first time this year where Phoenix had really had to tailor their actions. They exploded in the second half.
Sion McFarland coming off with an injury certainly changed that fixture, but felt like the scoreline would have been the same in terms of the result, but as far as 6 goals is concerned, it certainly was a lot, and Phoenix fans continuing to enjoy it. Dollar Beer Night. Let's take a look at the Wednesday night soccer schedule that lies ahead, Mr. Devin Kerr. Number of great fixtures up there, Orange County and Reno. That's going to be on a July 24th, excuse me. There's a July 23rd birthday of a play-by-play commentator within USL Championship. I'm not sure who it is, but somebody's got that 23rd birthday. New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive. That should be a very interesting one. All these games are great, and I ask you this question all the time. If you can only do one, which one would you pick?
Based upon the way things have gone recently, I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to North Carolina FC Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Really?
That's a nice matchup, and especially with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, their only loss of the season right now, NCFC. So a nice little rematch, an opportunity for Neil Collins to go on the road. We'll see how that plays out. Everybody else, mid-season woes right now. Nobody in really great form except for Reno, who's up and down. That loss to Phoenix has really kickstarted their second half of the season.
You're not going to ask me which one I would want to do?
No.
Okay. Well, if I had to choose, it would be New Mexico and El Paso. I know you don't care, but maybe somebody out there does. I know you don't. Nope. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, well, we're moving along halftime. Devin's a bit cranky. Charleston 1-0 over Hartford at the moment.
Join Trentolo and Trentolo for the NDA Benefit Ride and Concert on Sunday, July 14th. The motorcycle ride and concert are headed to Sun Valley Resort in Stafford Springs, where Bret Michaels and Grand Funk Railroad will take the stage. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit MDARideCT.com. The MDA Benefit Ride and Concert on Sunday, July 14th. Let's ride, rock, and make a difference.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo, Wizard of Whiskers, Sorcerer of Scissors, Houdini of Hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small in small business.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Buck's got your back.
Nick, you need a decision. These days, we all feel a little anxious sometimes. But if you could see inside my mind...
You'd find I go to my happy place. See, if we let tensions run the show up here...
then our bodies won't perform at their best out here.
Wait, are we going to the sound check?
Priorities.
So I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you that how you're doing emotionally affects you physically. Go for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you're feeling, physically and emotionally. Body and mind. Cigna, together all the way.
All right, almost ready for the second half here at Dillon. The fans are enjoying a snack. They're enjoying a beverage, perhaps the adult variety, perhaps a little bit of water. Who knows? Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr will take a look at how the first half went down. Devin, I have a feeling that this highlight reel isn't going to be all that long because there really wasn't all that much to talk about. A couple of half chances here and there, and I use that word half chance very, very lightly, but it was Zico Lewis with the lone goal right around the 40th minute.
There was a disconnection between the communication of Angulo on the left side and pretty much everybody else on Hartford Athletic. They weren't happy with the fact that he wasn't trying to get out, use some of the pace to his advantage and go the other direction. I did like, however, some of the distribution. There was a good look at the header played back across. This is one of the ones, give credit to Dewey stepping off his line. Anunga coming back across, a little rust for the Trinidad native, just coming all the way back across his body, couldn't get it off. And that's kind of the way it was in the run of the first half. You hit a lull from basically the 22nd minute to the 40th minute where everybody just decided to put it on cruise control. Let's go side to side. No vertical stretching whatsoever. Zico Lewis tried to get involved in the run of play. It all came down to Alex Davey and his poor decision making at the top of the 18. Really thought that he could have done better here, especially because there's a trailing run by Raymond Lee that has him the ability to step off of the challenge. Instead, he doesn't do it. And this is some of what we showed from Angulo. But as this long ball gets played in, all the way back across, and he gets stuck in and gives up a bad set piece opportunity to the Charleston battery. There's some of the communication we talked about. Angulo releasing it from distance. Alex Dixon wanted him to continue the run in the near channel. I don't blame him on that one. Would have given Dixon an opportunity to get a closer effort and also stretch the back line a bit more and allow them to have the vertical threat, but also play on the ground. As this ball comes back across the body, Svantesson tries to hit it. Good job by Dewey, and this is the challenge we're talking about right there. There's no reason whatsoever. Ball running away from goal. Davey has support in the likes of Raymond Lee on the backside. Instead, oversteps his boundaries. Referee puts him in the book. Zico Lewis puts him in his place.
And then Zico Lewis, watch this. Atula Guerra just sort of ducks, gets out of the way, acts as that 6th, 7th member of the wall, depending on what team you're on. Then Zico Lewis back onto the score sheet for the Charleston battery. And Charleston looking for their first win since early June after what was a long accidental break from the USL Championship after a couple of games were postponed due to inclement weather. Here's a look at the stats from the first half. Really not much to write home about. Hartford have been in clear possession, but again, it's that purposeful possession buzz phrase that we continue to use, Devin, and much of the possession that Hartford had wasn't purposeful. Meanwhile, for Charleston, you know, for a team that hasn't played in more than 2 weeks, it could have been a lot worse, and they have a 1-0 lead.
That's the biggest talking point for them is, yeah, you didn't have a lot of opportunities to step onto the playing ground. You're up 1-0 on the road against a team in Hartford Athletic that has shown that they can compete with some of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. When you look at statistics and break them down, Hartford Athletic, 329 passes, almost 90% passing accuracy, but they haven't really done anything with it. Jimmy Nielsen will have had a conversation of exactly what intentions those 11 players have in the second half. Try and get everybody on the same page and promote some sort of uniformity in their actions going forward, because that was lackluster at best in the first half.
Here's a look at what's on the horizon for Jimmy Nielsen's Hartford Athletic, home against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, at Bethlehem, at Nashville, then you're home against New York Rebels 2, and you get a little bit of a break with Atlanta United 2, but you never know what Stephen Glass is going to roll out there. And again, it's just another stretch where you sort of scratch your head with Hartford and you say, what's going on?
Unfair. This is ridiculous. I mean, honestly, I would be the first one to be like, oh, quit your whining. No, this is a very difficult schedule to navigate. And as we mentioned earlier, the second time that they're going to have to do it this year. How about Charleston Battery and what they're going to have to take on in the next coming weeks? As we mentioned, 2 games of the Weather Day, 3 overall this year. That's why they've played so many fewer matches than everybody else in the Eastern Conference. At Swope Park Rangers, you already talked about it, playing in that quiet environment can be a bit tricky at times. Then Tampa Bay Rowdies come to town at St. Louis, at Loudoun, and Lou City. 4 of those games included for me at Loudoun could be quite interesting. Loudoun United, another one of the teams similar to what Bethlehem and Hartford Athletic can do, where they can really turn their playing style up. But can they do it on a regular basis? All of those squads sitting below the playoff line because of the fact that the consistency is just not there.
All right, so we're waiting for the second half to get kicked off. And while we have a moment, Devin, if you're Jimmy Nielsen, you had a great 2-1 win over Indy 11 the last time that you were here. You go on the road to Swope Park Rangers. You lay an egg in the first 25, 30 minutes. Meanwhile, also Swope Park played you off the field for the first 25, 30 minutes. And then you come here, not a great performance whatsoever. You come back to Dillon Stadium, a place that was rocking just a week ago. Not necessarily the same crowd that we saw. What's the message in halftime?
Ryan Williams, Daniel Bedoya, Jorgensen, Nicky Downs, everybody sitting there chomping at the bit to get their opportunity to step onto the field and have a go at these guys. If you can't get the job done, I'm going to let somebody else go do it for you. Especially when you're down 1-0 at home in only the second appearance, it's time to step your game up. Show the manager why you belong in that shirt. You put in all the hard work throughout the entire week. This is supposed to be the fun part. This is the easy part, believe it or not. Training is now out the window. Go have some fun in the second 45 minutes.
Well, the second 45 minutes officially underway here at Dillon Stadium. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. As it stands, Charleston in control of all 3 points. And we did have a substitution, and it's Daniel Bedoya coming on. And making just his second appearance. Making his first appearance, pardon me, after coming over from NYCFC.
Bedoya, one of the guys in the NYCFC program, had an interesting path to get here. Former Red Bull youth player that got an opportunity to shine for Red Bull 2 back in the 2015 season, then made his way to the Long Island Rough Riders and was actually picked up by NYCFC on a close training session with the Rough Riders that included some of the NYCFC players. Makes his way over, and only 1 appearance so far for the MLS club. It was actually earlier this year in their 4-0 victory over North Carolina FC. And just continue on the progression that is Daniel Bedoya, the Colombian, who hasn't really had a lot of playing time stepping out of St. John's Red Storm. Got a good run of it back in 2015, but since then it's been very up and down. And a guy that has a boatload of potential just hasn't necessarily got an opportunity to showcase it.
Here is Bedoya finding Alex Dixon.
As you can see with that move, Rasmussen going to the back line in place of Alex Davey, who not only did he pick up the yellow card, had a knock as well as Max Steves gets knocked to the ground. Dangerous opportunity from a fair distance of the goal for Hartford Athletic. Kuzminski will immediately tend to the Wolves in front of him, set his wall up. Coming back in, that was the look we wanted to see more of. Distribution to the big boys up top, try and play off of them, just gets whacked from behind. Take your time here, just a few minutes into the second half. Good chance for you to get level, and if not, at least give yourself a topic of conversation moving forward with a bit of influence on the offensive side of things.
Pereira, teasing header in. Mueller got the first touch to it. Rasmussen the second. And cleared away by Charleston, only as far as Bedoya. Dixon now, brushes one in again. Mueller heads it straight up in the air, and the foul called against Vucic as he Gave a little how do you do to Joe Kuzminski, who was lining it up. Looked like Kuzminski looked straight up into the sun while he was trying to line that up. Just trying to gather himself again. We've seen a number of transactions throughout the league, Devin, during the summer transfer window. Highlighted Sacramento, and the Polish striker in Formella, Josh Cohen, being sent over to Maccabi Haifa. Think about St. Louis FC getting Colin Fernandez over from Phoenix Rising FC. Also Masta Kasher coming over to the Eastern Conference as well. Hartford Athletic picking up the likes of Alex Davey. Kyle Karinga. And with all that said, even with most of them having not really played yet, in your eyes, just on paper, who's the biggest winner during the summer transfer window?
Well, the immediate thought for me is there's so many movements, it's hard to remember every single player. I think St. Louis is a good talking point, especially considering they haven't won since April 20th, when they, 27th against Swope Park Rangers. Of course, they were in the midst of a deep Open Cup run, and can that new life that's being brought in the likes of those two players help push you a bit further? I think that could be a real good relationship for Lewis Hilton and Colin Fernandez in the middle of the field. Play off of each other, and Cashier out on the wings, especially when, and you and I have talked about this multiple times, though I don't think you need it, they haven't had an out-and-out striker. Kyle Gregg has never really gotten going, and Kadeem Daker, some of the other boys just haven't necessarily hit the back of the net as often as he'd like them to.
Here's Rittmeyer going the other way. Due elected to stay home. Rittmeyer dealing with two different defenders in the likes of Karinga and Semdovic, and Hartford come away victors in that particular small battle.
I do like the pickup, though you're probably not going to see him for a couple of weeks due to paperwork and visas. The pickup for Phoenix Rising, the Rich Get Richer and Chloe Whalen, kid coming over from the Liverpool system, will help out that back line and just continue the added depth that they've been able to acquire. I was quite impressed with the trade, not an acquisition, but the trade between Tampa Bay Rowdies and Lou City with Antoine Hoppeneau and Lucky M. Kasana. Both of them immediately making an impact in the first two games that they got an opportunity to step on for their new teams. Of course, Lucky M. Kasana had experience with Tampa Bay Rowdies before. And Hoppeneau has history with John Hackworth in the Philadelphia Union, now getting a chance for Louisville.
Here's Angulo. Bedoya gets it back from Barrera. Now pushes it out wide. Angulo again. Keeps the cross low. Taylor Mueller stabs it away. Just seems very predictable from Hartford at the moment. A few touches in the middle of the field. You draw some players out. Jose Angulo isolated out on the far side. He isn't driven at Obi Woodbine once this entire match yet.
Not far off there, to be fair. On the last cross, it looked like Danny Barrera was just not quick enough to make that near post run. He did have the other trailer in Bedoya right at the top of the 18, making it as well. It looked like who he was trying to pick him out. Funny how the unpredictability that Mike Anhauser talked about in the formation of his team is kind of plaguing it on the reverse side of things for Hartford Athletic, where everything seems to be one foot in front of the other. Just yes sir, no sir, and let's get on with our jobs. Instead, the playmaker not really stepping into the picture here for Jimmy Nielsen's squad. And they have the talent in it. Just referenced Daniel Bedoya coming on. Danny Barrera has been a nice spark in his 3 assists over 6 matches so far since coming into the Athletic system.
Bedoya on the turn. A lively switch over for Angulo. Now looking to run at Obi Woodbine. Angulo again, straight at Taylor Mueller. Redmeyer nice little move to the outside. Barrera. Dixon again, poked away by Archer, but only as far as Angulo. Barrera, really good first touch. Able to keep it in his feet inside the penalty area. Here's Karinga from distance. Blocked in front by AJ Patterson. Here's Vucic, and easy enough for Kuzminski.
There's plenty of space here for Vucic to let it go, to be honest. Could have taken another touch out in front of him. Don't necessarily mind the strike from distance, so a bit of frustrations coming out. Nobody closed him down, though. Look at trailing run by Candela coming back across. Got about 5 yards in front of him. Tries to go at Kuzminski from distance. Not always going to be an easy task for the goalkeeper as it's hit right at him.
Charleston will line up the long throw, and Obi Woodbine certainly has it in his locker. Goes short, though, for Atulagera. And Raymond Lee sealed off the avenue that Obi Woodbine was trying to run down. Hartford Athletic fans, there is still time to vote for your Cigna Man of the Match on Twitter using hashtag Cigna, MOTM. Semdevitt. Now wide for Karinga. Bending one in, hoping for Alex Dixon, but a little bit too long, and Dixon not exactly a perpetual aerial threat, although he can get up. It's a little bit more difficult when the likes of Taylor Mueller lurking in the penalty area. Now it's Rittmeyer. Rittmeyer around Karinga. Set up by Semdevitt. Angulo thought about it. Now here's Angulo, loose in front, it's Vucic. Hartford are level, and it's 1-1 at Dillon. Vucic again.
You'll take it any way you can get it if you're Hartford Athletic. Needed something to spark the comeback here in the second half. Energy lacking all over the field. Slight hesitation by Angulo, who tests himself from distance. That's some of the frustration we talked about. When the opportunities aren't coming, you get out of your comfort zone and you pull the trigger too early. That doesn't matter. There's a deflection given up by Kuzminski, and just very well done by Vucic right at the top of the 18. Could have easily put this back up over the top. Instead, able to hold his form, put it in the back of the net, and just like that, there's hope for Hartford.
So out of the 3 goals scored at Dillon Stadium now, Vucic has 2 of them. And he has scored some massive goals for Jimmy Nielsen back in the OKC Energy FC days. Scores a big one here as Hartford are trying to desperately get back into the win column and make a second half of the season push for the postseason.
Coming in, those were some of the goals that I was talking to you about Kuzminski, where he's been leaking. Yes, I understand that there's been a lot of revolving pieces in front of you, but when you get something like that out in front, I understand you're going to give up deflections. It happens to everybody, but as a goalkeeper, you got to put it in the right spot if you are going to do it. If the shot's too hard, if you can't get a handle on it, that's when you come with your fist and you punch away. And you certainly don't do it right down the middle of the field to give them a second opportunity.
Here's Angulo again. Lost his balance a little bit. Raymond Lee was asking for it, but Angulo going to circle back around and keep possession for Hartford, who have renewed life after the Vucic goal. Here's Barrera from distance, and that's over the first 10. But already you can see a bit more purpose from the boys in blue and green.
This is quite similar, to be honest, of what we saw in the game against Swope Park Rangers, where the abysmal first half just took a toll on them. They go into the dressing room and life was to be had. Opening minutes of the second half, own goal, Alex O'Reilly, and that got it to 3-1. An immediate response from Swope Park Rangers made it 4. And then Alex Dixon, and of course Max Steves, as Kuzminski comes off his line to save his center back. Really got things going. Second half, a lot of opportunities for Hartford Athletic. Unfortunately, could not find the equalizer, and just hoping that that's not the tail of the tape here against the Charleston Battery, that they've gotten the tying goal and now they want to get out in front.
Knocking on the door of the hour mark. Nico Rittmeyer knocking on the door of the Hartford back line. Candela, first touch from Atula Guerra. He lines it up, saved in front by Due, and Svantesson couldn't get there. Sendovid held him up just a bit. Not enough to allow Adam Kilpatrick to blow the whistle, but a good strike from Atula Guerra.
An interesting pull-up at the tail end of this by Svantesson. When Guerra lets it go, watch the deflection given up. Travels back across, and then right there, pulls up a little bit lame. Well done by Semdevit to hold off on the jersey just a little bit to push the striker away. If you're Mike Anhauser, you were holding your breath for just a second. So it looks like Svantesson right back at it.
Patterson got a touch to it. Dixon restarts for Hartford. Angulo. Vucic's first touch intended for Bedoya. Angulo back for Bedoya, the debutant. Not his best delivery, and he'll be the first to tell you.
It's been some decent movement out of Bedoya in the middle of the field so far. Seems like the relationship between he and Danny Barrera a bit more fruitful than what we saw out of Rasmussen in the first half, and that's nothing against Phillip, who's now gone to the back line in place of Alex Davey. It just seemed like there was that disconnect that we talked about 25-30 yard gap, where there was just an inability to connect the dots with the front 3 or 4 going forward. Not the case here in the second half. Seems like a renewed sense of belief for the home squad.
Barrera, who's becoming much more involved in this one. Dixon, awkward from Archer. Patient here from Charleston. Mads Jorgensen getting set to come on for Hartford Athletic, along with the aforementioned Substitute with Charleston, Arthur Boshua. Here's Rittmeyer, trying to stand one up, but couldn't quite wrap his foot around it. Boshua will come on and replace Ian Svantesson, who really didn't look himself tonight, did he, Dev?
Seen a bit off, and you just wonder that knock moments ago, if that has anything to do with it. Like just rotating a bit, and Boshua an opportunity to play that hold-up spot they were expecting out of the big number 9, which never really took shape. Reverse side of things with Steves coming off. A chance for Jorgensen. He'll tuck himself into the middle, and Uchik will go and play that high line. And they'll look him as the target man going forward.
Mats Jorgensen, just 20 years of age, really starting to enjoy his time in the States and playing for Jimmy Nielsen. Seen him score some impressive goals this year already, both in Open Cup and league play. And he'll replace Max Steves.
Replacing number 19, Max Steves, in the 64th minute.
With all the personnel that Anheuser has at his disposal right now, I actually wouldn't mind seeing Boshua out on the right, push Atula Guerra all the way up top, see if he can challenge Semdevitt and move Zico Lewis inside. I know you talked about seeing him more as a winger, and I get that just with the look right now. They're not getting him enough distribution. Have to change things up with as much talent as Zico Lewis has. Got to get the ball to his feet a bit more.
Long range effort, oh, that's spectacular. Mads Jorgensen, his first touch of the night, and it's an absolute banger. Hartford Athletic down a goal, now up a goal here in the second half. Mads Jorgensen, take a bow, my friend.
This is the energy you're talking about. Said the substitutes would come in if nobody else wanted to step up and hit it. Quite literally, from about 35 yards out, Jorgensen, upper 90. Thank you very much for just the second time this season. The Dane is able to find the back of the net. So appreciative of his efforts are his teammates. Hartford Athletic, there's blood in the water for the home squad.
Mads Jorgensen with his second goal of the season, and that, I can assure you, will be a USL Championship Goal of the Week nominee. And it might just be a winner, and it might just be a game winner. Here's Guerra bringing it down. Great little move. Atula Guerra blocked off the line by Frederick Douay. He'd completely done Semdevitt. Left him in his wake, and Atula Guerra in his first game back for Charleston. Almost able to pull one back just moments after the Mads Jorgensen wonder strike.
This is beautifully done by Douay. Keep an eye on the goalkeeper as his center back gets placed out here. Cut back across the body, comes quickly off his line. This was an area for Jimmy Nielsen earlier on this season. Felt like Douay was not at his best. When we approached him about it, he said, listen, a goalkeeper that has not played league games in quite some time, the hardest thing to do is set pieces and long balls coming in. Did a good job drifting back across his body and then challenging Guerra once he made it in behind Semdevitt.
A much more relaxed Jimmy Nielsen now. Still plenty of time to go, though.
I promise you this, if you're a player and he's sitting down, you're happy. Unless he's applauding you for your efforts like Jorgensen. You want the White Puma sitting down and not stalking the sideline like we've seen him for the opening 60 minutes or so. And just look at it, just like that. They start to play a bit more. They put the ball on the deck. You have to wonder how the frustration has not overtaken Jimmy Nielsen, because they can go 40, 50, 60 minutes where they basically are sleeping throughout a match, and just like that, a fire is lit and they're out in front of a team that's sitting above the playoff line.
And the two goals, let's be fair, they're not wondrous team goals with great build-up play, really energetic darting runs. It's a mistake from Joe Kuzminski, parrying it right into the path of Vucic, and it's a moment of individual brilliance for Mads Jorgensen from a different county. That's what gets you going.
As a manager, you don't care. Not at this point in time. When you've gotten this far into the game, you're trying to find a way to see the match out.
But is it not part of the deeper underlying problem for this side?
Well, of course it is. This is an issue right now because it has shown up time and time again through multiple matches. The frequency is really the issue. Teams are going to have bad matches. Teams are going to fall asleep here and there, and this is a challenge that's most assuredly going to end up in the book. That's late coming through.
A number of Hartford Athletic members running to the aid of their teammate in Frederick Due as Arthur Bashua. He's South African, most definitely going to be shown mustard here in the 69th minute.
Just coming in, Due going a bit late, trying to play a bit of cat and mouse with the striker. You're always going to get in trouble there. When you go back to the results and the scheduling for Hartford Athletic, it has to be uplifting that you have shown you are able to compete with some of the best in the East. More importantly, how do you find a way to then ignite that fire on such a regular basis? That's probably the biggest issue at this level, to be fair. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time where guys will miss a strike here, they'll make an errant pass there. This is not a detrimental comment. Guys are at the level of USL Championship for a reason. You step up to the next level for a second reason. You are more dedicated, you are more willing, and the skill level is there. There are other times where the system just benefits you a bit more. That's what you're starting to see.
Here's Barrera, and that just skips wide. Hartford Athletic are just feasting on Joe Kuzminski at the moment.
Still have to remember that up until about 6 matches ago, this was a team who had rotated formations pretty much every single game, and they're opening 10 to 12 matches. Now they've slid into that 4-4-2. And okay, yeah, it wasn't great, but they found a way to gain momentum, and they've taken it and run with it the entire way. Now you got to see it out. 20 minutes to go, and Hauser going to his bench once again. How do you then react to the fresh legs coming on? Ryan Woodbine coming off, Dante Marini getting an opportunity to have a little fun with Hartford Athletic.
So Dante Marini, who does have a few goals on the season, will come onto the scene here in the final 20 minutes. He is a little spark plug and bulldog, whatever you want to call him. He can change a game. Or touch from Semdevid. Bashua goes down. Semdevid is going to be called for the foul, and he might go into the book as well. He will. As Bashua, even though the fact that he's on a yellow card, continuing to put pressure on this Hartford back line.
Good show of confidence by Arthur Bashua right up top. To be honest, he's the one who actually goes in with a high boot here. Semdevid coming back across. That's an angle for the referee and how things played out, though. Quality sportsmanship being shown by the Dutchman. And now you just wonder, will they bring Taylor Mueller all the way up, Leland Archer, AJ Patterson? Those are the 3 big ones on the back line that pose that aerial threat that hasn't necessarily poked its head out so far in this match.
Here's Candela, not his best.
Zico Lewis is asking for this ball. He's not wrong. As he comes back across this, initially starts off as a little decoy. You can play him in. This is one of the trickeries that can be from the training ground. Just knock it across and then let him either go 1v1 or bring it back across the 6. Instead, just sprays it over the end line.
Angulo will go negative for Raymond Lee. Into the path of Danny Barrera. It's a great ball. Barrera still with it, being yanked out from behind. He's looking for a foul call. He's not going to get one.
There's a shout from the sideline from Jimmy Nielsen. He's pulling his shirt. This is always going to be a tough ask of the referee as you push down here. If you don't go to ground, and that sounds like you're asking someone to dive, there's obviously contact, but if you don't go to ground, you're not forcing the referee's hand. And to be honest, yes, there is a little touch, but it's not a shove, it's not a pull, and it is certainly not enough to point to the spot.
I will say this, if you're Danny Barrera, and you stay on your feet, you have to then go for the ball. If the cross is not great, and if it goes out of play, whatever it is, and the referee was just playing advantage, you'll get the call. If you keep it in play and you keep playing, then at least you give yourself a chance. Worst case scenario if you just stop and the ball runs out of play. Curl into the path, little flick behind. Awkward for Douay, but he scoops it up. Hartford Athletics still looking for their first clean sheet of the season. They've yet to shut a team out. Here's Angulo. Long distance effort, and just flies past Kuzminski. Vucic is making the claim that it took a deflection, but not sure he's going to get any luck from the referee.
Angolo's shown us a few times that he's more than willing to pull this back across and have a go. This time he goes with the left foot. Not a bad little knot here. Coming off the goalkeeper, the way that they're setting up, it looks like they have pointed to the corner flag.
Ball whipped in from Hartford. Loose in front. Rasmussen got a touch to it, but it falls kindly into the hands of Joe Kuzminski. Vucic is down.
Just a melee in the middle. Looks like there was going to be a touch to the back post there by Rasmussen. Couldn't get enough on the boot. Kuzminski comes out. There's a frustrated man, Taylor Mueller, still wearing the mask after coming back from the broken nose. Seems like it was eons ago. That was only about 6 weeks or so. Takes a bit of time to come back from it.
Well, with about 15 minutes left tonight, we'll take a look at how we got to this 2-1 scoreline. It started around the 40th minute. Down goes Vincenzo Candelo, right along the edge of the area. Upsteps Zico Lewis, and you have to ask the question, what on earth was Frederick Douay doing on this free kick? There was a little bit of trickery with Guerra stepping out of the way, but still, Douay has to do a little bit better.
And he's yelling at the wall. The wall doesn't do anything wrong here. They hold their shape. They stand their firm ground. Guerra rotates back in a little bit. Zico Lewis finds the far post. Okay, it's 1-0. What's the home squad going to do? Are they going to bow out? Absolutely not. Vucic does a good job on the deflection, coughed up by Joe Kuzminski. He gets it leveled in one. And then the most ridiculous strike that you may see in the USL Championship, not just this week, but one of the better ones you're going to see this year. A nice little layoff, crack from about 35 yards out. Joe Kuzminski, don't feel bad for you. Not going to happen, buddy. Not from this distance. Not against something that special from Jorgensen. Beautifully taken, upper 90, 2-1 Hartford Athletic.
So there you have it. If you're Mike Anhauser, tactically, anything that you can change going into these last 15 minutes or so?
Quite interesting how the energy has totally shifted to Hartford Athletic. There's still not a massive amount going on the pitch, but the blue and green definitely have the better run of it right now. You have to find a way to start playing off of Atula Guerra. I get it. It's his first appearance of the season, but he's out there for a reason. There's so much talent in him. How many times in 2018 did you see those balls played into the middle of the field? He turns, starts to run at guys, but then allows the other runs around him to develop. That's not happening. Find a way to get the Trinidad native more involved in the run of play.
Jimmy Nielsen continues to bark in the ear of the fourth official. Still wanting the call from Danny Barrera as the 19th Regiment and the rest of the Hartford Athletic fans trying to will their side across the finish line and get the second win in a row at Dillon Stadium. And put together the first consecutive home winning streak in their inaugural season. Even when they were at the Rent, they could not win consecutive games. Attendance today at Dillon Stadium, north of 3,100. Here's Zico Lewis on the other end. Atula Guerra, a little bit of space over for Dante Marini. Marini tried to slide one through, last touch coming off of Sendovid, and a corner for the visitors.
Some better rotation coming out of the Charleston battery. It's got to be quicker though. That little move and then release it. Cutting the ball back inside. You've allowed so many players from Hartford Athletic to recompose themselves in the middle of the box. That's why the passing lane shuts itself down.
Corner whipped in, teasing ball. It falls to the back post. Archer lays it off. Here's Guerra, and Charleston are level. A booming goal sent all throughout Dillon Stadium. Hartford had the lead, but just for a brief moment, Atula Guerra's first game in the season, after all sorts of visa issues, draws Charleston back level.
Lovely little bit of rotation coming off from Archer on the back post here. Watch his ability to bring this ball down and lay it off for the native. Atula Guerra sitting just outside the penalty mark, brings this back across his body and able to put it in the back of the net just like that. Trinidad Tobago 2-2.
I don't think we're hurting anyone's feelings by saying that the first half was more or less a snooze fest. The second half has been anything but. Here's Danny Barrera finding Jose Angulo. Hartford might be able to snatch the lead back, and it's straight into the backside of Nico Rittmeyer. Hartford asking questions again. Bedoya. Switching the point of attack for Karinga. Jorgensen. Vucic trying to lay it off. Now here comes Marini on the other end. Charleston battery trying to retake the lead. Marini in for Lewis. Lewis still with it, over for Marini. He takes it with the left foot, and Charleston have taken the lead in a matter of moments. Dante Marini off the bench. It's Hartford 2, Charleston 3. Incredible stuff in the second half here in Hartford.
Mike Anhauser's starting to feel it now. And how about the tactical adjustments from a personnel standpoint? Bringing on Marini. Had to find a way to get Atula Guerra going. Let's take offense in the likes of Zico Lewis and Dante Marini. Lewis doesn't get it right as he trails into the 18. There's a nice trailing run by Jorgensen that gets a touch on it. Unfortunately, Semdovic gets caught flat-footed. There's a cut back across the body. He's yelling at the midfield. Has to keep an eye on his own performances because Marini just unleashes on Due. Nothing that the goalkeeper can do as the visitors are once again out in front.
Unbelievable. This game is turned on its head. It's turned on its side. It's flown out outer space, gone to the moon, come back, and had a cup of coffee. 5 goals in favor of Charleston, 4 of them coming in the second half, 3 of them coming in the last 10 minutes. After all of that, can Hartford try to save a point or perhaps go after all 3? Because we just saw from Charleston that there are goals to be had in this game in rapid succession. Raymond Lee lost one in, looking for Vucic. He heads it down, and it's just wide of the post. Hartford were that close to equalizing.
He's down as well. Watch out here for Vucic as he's grasping his head, going to ground after this header on the back post. Beautiful ball floated in by Raymond Lee to the back post. Little touch, Hiller Mueller following through. It looks like the elbow just catching him, but he's up and at him once again.
What on earth is the White Puma thinking at this very moment? Atula Guerra knocks it out wide for Artur Bashua, trying to get around Semdovic. This has been a good matchup since Bashua's come on. Dante Marini cushions it down. Now curls one into the path of Bashua. Good chance here. Bashua, heavy touch, and cleared away by Philip Rasmussen. And we're going to have our third and final substitute for Mike Anhauser in the Charleston battery is Kotaro Higashi, the 30-year-old from Japan, will come onto the scene. Get more fresh legs for Mike Anhauser as Zico Lewis limps off. favoring that left leg, or right leg, excuse me, and grabbing the backside, which is usually an indication of a hamstring injury. We'll stray away from speculation, but Zico Lewis did his work tonight. Wasn't the best from the Bermuda International, but he was able to get his goal. And on comes Higashi here in the 84th.
He was able to get his goal, and of course that vital touch just before the goal by Marini on the far post, where Semdovic just got caught drifting just a bit.
Here's Garrett, already with one tonight. Thought about it. Now it's Higashi, onside. Toying with Karinga. And Bashua a couple stabs at it, but Frederick Douay comes away with it cleanly. Hartford almost give it away in a very dangerous area. Raymond Lee now working on Higashi. Ryan Williams getting set to come on for Hartford. Bedoya going the other way. Jorgensen finding Alex Dixon. Dixon around one defender, slides it through. Vucic offside. Hartford Athletic is proud to welcome Stanley Black & Decker as a founding partner. Stay tuned each week for the Stanley Innovative Play of the Game. A quick substitution made by Jimmy Nielsen. On comes Ryan Williams, out comes Kyle Karinga, and we'll resume play.
Jimmy Nielsen giving directions to Ryan Williams to push the line a bit higher, overstack the top to really go after Charleston Battery in the closing moments of this match. They'll rotate the three on the back line and see if they can find a way to have some sort of magic with just moments to go in this game. You have to address Hartford Athletic and their inability to close out matches. They've given up quite a few goals this year. We know that 46 to be exact, 17 of which, 37% have come after the 75th minute. You have to find a way when you're out in front and you're tied in a game to see things out. That is why they are so low in the table. Yes, it's been on the road against bigger opponents, but there are points to be had and they are letting them slip away.
Pereira now, Vucic the header, and a spectacular save from Joe Kuzminski. It has not been his best night, but he makes an incredible save to keep Charleston in front by a goal. Great turn from Bedoya. Laces one in, but Jose Angulo was the only one in there, and he made a run towards the near post. And Joe Kuzminski with a terrific outstretched paw.
Said coming down the stretch that Kuzminski had to find a way to be the main man when called upon. Exactly what you're asking of your goalkeeper. Lovely movement by Hartford Athletic, knocking the ball back in. Kuzminski gets that big paw out and just pushes it to the side.
Ball in for Dixon, heavy touch though, broken up by Leland Archer. Ryan Williams looking for Angulo. First to it is Taylor Mueller to fall for Danny Pereira. Jorgensen. Pereira again, right in front of the 19th Regiment. Jorgensen again from distance, and Taylor Mueller bravely sticks his head in the way. Joe Kuzminski looked a little bit troubled as to where that was going to go. Vucic lashes one in and dealt with by A.J. Patterson. This game has been incredible since around the 50th minute. End-to-end stuff.
This is really well done by A.J. Patterson on the backside of things as well, as it rotates itself all the way back across. Doesn't want to take any chances. Has no clue who's behind him. Doesn't get the appropriate shot, just knocks it over.
Semdovic. Oh, that's a good idea for Jose Angulo. Just over his head, though. And Hartford have all the ideas cooking now. They're just looking for that final moment of execution.
You better believe Kuzminski going to take his time here. There's a reminder from the referee in the form of the whistle. Let's get it back on track here.
Semdevitt. Latoya got caught with it, and Patterson goes all the way back for Kuzminski. Knocking on the door of the 90th minute. Ryan Williams taken down. He wants to go quickly, though. Barrera gets it back from Bedoya. Or at least tried to, and then Barrera commits the foul. And a yellow card shown to Barrera as well as he goes into the book in the 90th. What an incredible response from the Charleston battery. They go up 1-0. They see themselves go down 2-1 after a bit of an awkward play from Joe Kuzminski, finish from Vucic, and then an all-world goal from Mats Jorgensen. Atula Guerra pulls one back, and then just literally seconds later, Dante Marini comes off the bench and puts you up ahead of goal. And those 2 goals from Hartford sort of woke them up into the idea that, hey, we actually are playing in competitive matches again after a 2-week break.
Official time is now kept on the field.
Charleston battery can see this out. It will be the first time this season. I understand they're a few games behind in the pecking order. But the first time this season that they will have come from behind to be able to get a victory. They've done it in the shape of a tie a few times, but never 3 points.
Williams gets it back, and it's spilled by Kuzminski again, but this time he can happily see it into his own hands. Ryan Williams has come on and made an immediate impact.
This is always going to be a good look for Ryan Williams as he just rocks the shoulder of the back line. Leland Archer doesn't see him drift in between he and Taylor Mueller. The Englishman coming back across his body. And Joe Kuzminski has really stepped his game up here in the second half.
Hagashi trying to find Atula Guerra. Due will go quickly back for Semdevitt. Jorgensen. Here's Vucic. 1v1 with Mueller, and it's straight at Kuzminski. And that might be one of the last real chances of the match for Hartford Athletic. We're going to drop their first game at Dillon Stadium after opening it with a 2-1 win against Indy 11. Great first touch from Jorgensen. Semdevitt. Good ball in all the way towards the back post, and how on earth Hartford not just get a slight touch to it, that most surely would have wound up in the back of the net. Semdovic with delectable delivery, but nobody looking to feast on it.
The Dutchman knocked this ball in. Ryan Williams not tall enough to get on the end of it. Barrera can't drop the clutch and get into another gear to speed things up. Really get the last-ditch effort. For Jimmy Nielsen, he's going to have another problem going forward. Thought that maybe Alex Davey coming in. Rasmussen goes back to the midfield. Of course, the yellow card and injury pushed Davey out. You drop Rasmussen back. Brought in some reinforcements. Now Semdovic, with his yellow card he picked up earlier, that'll be his 5th. He'll go into suspension for yellow card accumulation, miss their next match. Just hoping that Alex Davey didn't pick up a massive knock and can rejoin his mates on the back line.
Rasmussen directing traffic, hoping that Hartford maybe can have one last chance here in what is going to be a devastating loss for Jimmy Nielsen's group. They have to go, though. Kilpatrick ready to blow the game dead. Barrera keeps it in play. Last sequence of the night. Bucci tried to go through. Barrera clips one in. Williams waiting for it. That's gonna do it. The Charleston Battery hang on to win. A wild affair here at Dillon Stadium. First loss for Hartford at Dillon, and it comes at the hands of the Charleston Battery and Mike Anhauser. A valiant effort from Hartford Athletic after they trailed 1-0. Vucic did all that he could do. He is our Cigna man of the match. Charleston overcome a 2-1 deficit in a matter of seconds. Atula Guerra and Dante Marini were the heroes in the end, and the Charleston Battery find their first win since early June. We'll be back in a moment to put a bow on it. Final score 3-2 to Charleston.
On behalf of Hartford Athletic, we thank you for attending this.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small in small business.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance. The Buck's got your back.
Nick, we need a decision. These days, we all feel a little anxious sometimes. But if you could see inside my mind,
You'd find I go to my happy place. See, if we let tensions run the show up here,
then our bodies won't perform at their best out here.
Wait, are we going to the sound check?
Priorities.
So I'm partnering with Cigna to remind you that how you're doing emotionally affects you physically. Go for your annual checkup and be open with your doctor about anything you're feeling, physically and emotionally. Body and mind. Cigna, together all the way.
Dante Marini, a super sub if there ever was one, comes on and grabs the game winner for the Battery as they overcome a 2-1 deficit in the second half. Hartford Athletic overcame a 1-0 deficit in the second half as this game turned on its head more than a couple of times here in Hartford, Connecticut. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Charleston come away 3-2 victors. We'll take a look at how it all went down. And Devin, I mean, you and I were just talking about it. We sort of just said to each other, what on earth just happened?
It's kind of one of those days where you're just walking around, normal day, and all of a sudden everything Out in front, Battery would never look back. There was a spirited effort from both squads in the second half, but for me, it came down to, honestly, drive, passion, the will to want to win a game. And unfortunately, Hartford Athletic has only shown you that for about 20 to 30 minute spans. Their manager has said that. Good talking point coming out of it for the home squad. Ryan Williams, Jorgensen, and Daniel Bedoya, I really liked what they brought to the pitch when they came on and were given their opportunities. Jimmy Nielsen said this was the first time in his managerial career at Hartford Athletic that he had not picked his 11 coming in the day before a game. I promise you, he's going to have another problem in selection process last week, a good one. Credit to Mike Anhauser and the changes he made. Lovely performance. Atula Guerra, 50% scoring rate last year. He's at 100 right now, 1 for 1.
Let's take a look at our Stanley Innovative Play of the game, and this is innovation at its finest. And credit to Vucic, who gets the slightest touch to this one as he just pummels it home. And that would be the goal that sparked the comeback for Hartford Athletic. They would take a 2-1 lead, but as you just saw, Charleston Battery had the last laugh. And again, just a bit awkward for Joe Kuzminski, but, you know, Vucic makes the most of the opportunity given to him.
Kuzminski coughed up a lot of opportunities, to be fair, and that's kind of what we talked about. But when push came to shove, 10 minutes to go, made a couple pretty solid saves. And Vucic could have sprayed that up over the bar. He didn't. Kept his head down. Everything went great. Credit to Hartford Athletic to fight back. Got to find a way to see things out. Charleston Battery, 3 points.
Well, it was very much a tale of two halves. The first half, not much to write home about, but the second half, you might not see more drama in the USL Championship Eastern Conference this year. Hartford Athletic battled back, took a 2-1 lead after going down 1-0, but Charleston Battery found 2 goals in a matter of moments in the second half and come away 3-2 victors after more than a 2-week break. For our entire crew in Devon Kerr, Tyler Terrence saying so long for now. The final score from Dillon, Charleston 3, Hartford 2. We'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.